Today on the Bandrew Says podcast, we're going to be discussing YouTube demonetizing climate change deniers, YouTube also canceling Rewind Forever, and a couple of other things, so go ahead and stick around. Let's start with the big ticket item that YouTube is going to be demonetizing climate change deniers. This came out on the 7th of October, 2021, where they put out some new ad guidelines and information about this. I will go ahead and read it, but essentially they're saying you cannot have ads and you cannot have monetization if you are a climate change denier. Climate change denier, why did that sound weird? Regardless, here's a bit of that policy and I will read it for you. In recent years, we've heard directly from a growing number of our advertising and publisher partners who have expressed concerns about ads that run alongside or promote inaccurate claims about climate change. Advertisers simply don't want their ads to appear next to this content, and publishers and creators don't want ads promoting these claims to appear on their pages or videos. That's why today we're announcing a new monetization policy for Google advertisers, publishers, and YouTube creators that will prohibit ads for and monetization of content that contradicts well-established scientific consensus around the existence and causes of climate change. This includes content referring to climate change as a hoax or a scam, claims denying that long-term trends show the global climate is warming, and claims denying that greenhouse gas emissions or human activity contribute to climate change. This new policy not only will help us strengthen the integrity of our advertising ecosystem, but also it aligns strongly with the work we've done as a company over the past 2 decades to promote sustainability and confront climate change head-on, apply directly to the forehead, head-on, apply directly to the forehead, head-on, apply directly to the forehead. That's sorry, I think that's a funny bit. I don't think anybody else will find it humorous, but I do not care. That's all that I wanted to read from the blog post. I will link the support article in the episode notes in case you do want to read it for yourself. This doesn't bother me too much, actually. However, I don't think that YouTube is being completely honest with us in regards to the motivation behind this change to their policy. The first thing I do want to say, though, is the reason it doesn't really bother me is the videos are still going to exist on the platform. They are only removing your ability to monetize those videos. And as a content creator, we have no right to have access or demand access to monetization because that would require that YouTube forces advertisers to give money to put on your video. And that's not a right that any of us have because that would be removing the right of those advertisers because they would be forcing the advertisers to give them money. And that's just not how the system works. So I am not bothered by the demonetization because the videos will still exist. And I think that's a perfectly fine middle ground for YouTube to say, we don't like this content, but we're not going to kick you off. We're just going to remove your ability to get money from advertisers because advertisers don't want their money there. I think that's fair. But the reason I'm saying I don't think they're being completely honest stems from the fact that they say they're taking these actions based on their advertisers' requests and actions and demands, but then they go on to say they will prohibit advertisements, which does make sense. That falls into line with what they're saying and who they're saying is leading to this. But then they also say, and monetization of these videos. So not only are they limiting the advertisements, but they are limiting your ability to earn any money on those videos. Now, if you're not a YouTube content creator, that may be a bit confusing, so I will elaborate here. Advertisements are only a portion of the available monetization options for a channel and an individual video. You also have the ability to earn money through YouTube Premium subscribers and through something called Super Thanks. The way that YouTube Premium subscribers work and how you earn revenue from that is people will say, I want to sign up for YouTube Premium, and that removes all ads from their viewing experience. So now when that individual who no longer sees ads goes and watches a video, a portion of their monthly revenue, their monthly subscription fee will get sent to that creator whose video they watched. Super Thanks is a new feature where there's a thanks button underneath a video, and if the viewer really liked that video, they can click thanks, and it gives them the option to donate 5, 10, 25, 50 bucks, whatever it is, directly to that content creator. So why am I saying that YouTube seems a little bit dishonest here, or like they're not being completely transparent for the motivation behind this policy change? It's because by removing the ability to earn YouTube Premium revenue or receive super thanks on a video, that's not benefiting the advertisers. That does nothing to benefit the advertisers who they are saying are the reason they are making this policy change. If they are being truthful and the reason they are making this change is because advertisers do not want their ads to run alongside or promote inaccurate claims about climate change, why are they also removing the ability for a content creator to receive money directly from somebody who watches their video or somebody who says, "This is great, let me do a super thanks"? It just doesn't add up to me. It doesn't make any sense. Now, again, I want to reiterate that I'm not upset that YouTube is demonetizing videos. I could not care less because that is not our right as content creators. We do not have the right to gain access to monetization and demand that advertisers give us money or that our viewers give us money. That's not our right. That's not even in our ability. We can't force people to give us money. That's tyranny. You can't do that. Although I'm sure there are some YouTube creators who'd be fully on board with that. I'm not going down that road. Not going down that road. But the entire thing I'm saying is it just does not add up to me. It doesn't seem like they're being completely upfront. And I'm advocating that when you read policy changes like this, question what they're saying. Ask yourself if it makes sense. And if it doesn't, I don't know what you do with that. Maybe begin questioning why they're being dishonest or why they are not being completely upfront. That's it. I will link the support article in the description and show notes if you want it. Let's jump to the next story. Before I say anything, I want to apologize about this story because it's going to be incredibly depressing. It's going to bring a lot of people down. YouTube has officially canceled Rewind permanently. Last year, they canceled it because of COVID. And now they said they're not going to do it ever again. I understand completely. It seemed incredibly expensive to produce, and everybody seemed to hate it. I don't think there was anybody who was on board with Rewind thinking, "Wow, this is wonderful. Thanks so much, YouTube." I don't think anybody thought that, at least over the last 5 years or so. It just seemed universally hated. And this is the end of an era. No more rewinds. I will miss hating it every single year, but most importantly, I will miss watching the entire community come together over one thing that we can all agree on, and that is YouTube is out of touch, they don't understand the community, and this is terrible, awful, and borderline offensive. And I will kind of miss that. I will link the tweet in the episode notes in case you want to see more. I don't know why you would. That's pretty much all there is. And now I need to get something off of my chest. Last week, I made a huge mistake. I am sure a lot of you know what it's going to be. There was a lot of pushback, and rightfully so. I just had a moment, I had a huge lapse of judgment in last week's episode. I knew people would be mad, and I understand that. The thing that I constantly forget is what I talk about on this show, and the words that come out of my mouth can have real-world impacts. And that's something that I need to be aware of and constantly think about with what I choose to talk about and how I choose to cover it. And that's what this is all about. I should have chosen my words much more carefully because last week, I had said that I wished that Facebook would be deleted, and I had no idea that my wish would come true. I know some people were thinking it was going to be something else. They're going to be so pissed. I had no idea that it would actually come true. Had I known that I was a wizard or a warlock, and my wish would come true, I would have wished for something world-changing. I would have wished for world peace or for $1 trillion, but instead I just said I hate Facebook and I wish it would disappear, and then it disappeared for 6 hours. That was a dumb bit. It's not a funny bit, but just knowing that somebody's going to think, oh my gosh, look at Bandrew being a little baby apologizing about stuff. I think that's the funny part. It's not my unfunny bit that makes it funny. It's going to be people's reactions to it that makes it kind of funny. Anyway, what have I been testing? It's the Beyerdynamic M70 Pro X. This is Beyerdynamic's new broadcast dynamic microphone. This costs $300, and full disclosure, this was sent to me by Beyerdynamic so I could review it. I've had it for a couple of weeks, and I kept quiet. None of y'all knew that I had it. I'm good at keeping secrets. And that's what I'm using. I will have a review of it very shortly. Can you guess when it's going to come out? I'm sure you can. Let me know what you think of this microphone in the comments down below. There's your plosive tests. Just to get that out of the way, I have had to make a few edits because I do just breathe into it or something, and it just catches a lot of air. I need to be better with my mic technique on this sucker. All right. I don't think we're doing what you had to say again because last week got a bit contentious, and I don't want to dig up that corpse again. Let's go ahead. Let's jump to my favorite part of the show, the Ask Bandrew segment. All right. This is the Ask Bandrew segment, the segment where you ask questions to Bandrew, who is I, and I answer them to you. Hence, Ask Bandrew. Should be Ask Bandrew, answer question. So, I don't know. If you have any questions, I'm in a very weird mood today. If you have any questions, go to askbandrew.com. There are instructions on how to send in audio, video, and text-based questions. I do prefer audio and video because I'm a stupid person who sucks at reading. I have a difficult time doing it. And if you send in audio or video, we get to hear how you sound on your equipment. That's always fun. First email comes from Kanchan. I just butchered your name and I apologize. They say, Dear Sir, do we need sound cards for the SSL2 or will it work directly with my laptop? Although it's a silly question, being new on this interface things, thought about asking you. Regards. Kanchan or Kanchan, I'm going to call you K. K, thank you very much for the email. There are no silly questions here. When we all start recording audio, it's a completely new world and it can be very confusing. The SSL2 is your sound card. That will function as the sound card. So as long as you have a USB port, I believe it's USB-A, may also be USB-C. As long as you have a port on your computer and it meets the requirements listed on their website, then you should be fine. And that will function as your sound card. That will allow you to get audio into your computer as well as get audio out of your computer. So it's the audio in and out when you connect it. Also, you'll probably need to download drivers from SSL's website. You can do all of that stuff, but you do not need any additional hardware for the SSL2 to function. You don't need an additional sound card because the SSL2 is your sound card. Next, we have an email from, why are all these names difficult to say? I'm a stupid American. I don't understand this. I'm going to call you H because I can't pronounce your name. And I don't mean to be angry about it, but I'm just a stupid person. And when stupid people don't understand what's happening, they tend to get a little bit unsettled. Anyway. First off, thank you for the reviews and content. Appreciate it, H. Thank you very much. I am looking to replace my headset for regular voice comms, Discord, etc. while gaming, as well as streaming and occasional offline voiceover recording all in one setup. So far, I've figured the AT2035 is a good mic for the price. I'd like the NT1, but it's a step up in price. Not willing to do that. I believe the 2035 can be used slightly further distance while still sounding okay, as I'd prefer not to have the mic in my face during casual use, but I'll make do if I have to. Moving on to audio interfaces, since I want to get some nice headphones again, used to have a pair of DT880s. I've heard the Motu M2/M4 have great headphone amps for what they are, and that would save me some money so I don't have to get an amp in addition. However, I'm not exactly sure how critical it is to have a monitoring PC playback mix knob like the more expensive M4 has. I am definitely one of those people who needs to hear my voice to speak clearly, so I want monitoring, but I can't adjust the ratio of monitoring versus PC output if the interface doesn't have the mix feature, right? There are cheaper interfaces that have it, but they don't have they have bad headphone amps. Do I need this mix monitor mix thing? I'm paraphrasing. And the last question is, is it a bad idea to have open back headphones for this setup? I much prefer the sound of open back headphones for basically all uses. Okay. First question, AT2035 versus NT1. I don't think the 2035 is necessarily going to perform better than the NT1 at a further distance. I imagine they would perform pretty comparably. I don't think one does a significantly better job at ambient noise rejection. I don't think one has a particularly narrow polar pattern. I think they will be fairly comparable. As far as the lack of a mix dial on the Motu M2, I understand why you want that. I like that as well, but you should be able to just adjust the computer playback volume on your computer. That's what I do on my Mac when I'm doing this. I will just turn the volume up or down on the computer, and that adjusts the computer playback, which is going through the Motu M2, without adjusting my zero latency monitoring through the headphones. That's the workaround there. Is it as elegant? Is it as nice? No. But that's what you have to make do with in order to adjust the level. And the last one is open back headphones. Is it a bad idea? Not necessarily. It may be different for you because while you're going to be using open backs while you're streaming and gaming and chatting with other people, that will mean that the other people's voices in the game audio might bleed into your microphone. The reason I'm able to do it is because I'm just monitoring myself currently, and I monitor at a relatively low level. It's not blasting loud, so it doesn't have as much opportunity to bleed into the microphone or feedback. So it comes down to how loud you listen. If you listen to gaming audio and voice chat extremely loud, probably not going to be the best option because it will bleed into your condenser microphone. And if you monitor extremely loud as well, you may even start to get feedback where you get this really high-pitched whine, and it kills your ears. So it comes down to the question that you got to answer for yourself. How loud do I? And be honest. Don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to yourself. I know some people will say, I don't monitor very loud. Be honest with yourself. Do you like cranking your headphones all the way up? Or do you have little baby sensitive ears like me? And you're like, ow, loud sounds. I don't like it anymore. I don't like it. Ow. Little beta ears. That's I'm giving myself a nickname, little beta ears. Anyway, hopefully that was helpful, H. And the last email comes from Joe. They say, I was looking for some specs on some vintage gear and I found myself on the CNET page. A video started explaining Microsoft Windows 11. I have no faith in CNET or Windows 11 if the proponents of the product are this ill-informed. Peace, Red Cabin Acoustic. If you are not watching, I will explain this image to you, but if you are watching, you see the image. The proponent for the mic fail of the week is the Blue Yeti. And just like every other Blue Yeti fail, it is somebody speaking into the top of the Blue Yeti. I don't think that the image is large enough for me to actually see the polar pattern that it's on. But yeah, I can't see the polar pattern it's on, but they're talking into the top of it, so they are not using the microphone correctly. And I always have to include a good mic fail when I find one. Joe, Red Cabin Audio, I appreciate you very much for sending that in. If any of you have mic fails or questions, we are finally in July. We're catching up, I think. I think at one point we were 6 months behind. We're catching up. We're in July next week. We're getting there. If you have questions, if you have mic fails, ask Bandrew.com. Go check that out. Send them in. And that's it for this week. I've got nothing else. I appreciate you being here. Again, let me know what you thought of the Beyerdynamic M70 Pro X. I'm going to go watch Veronica Mars because I'm in love with her. I'm in love with Veronica Mars. I'm going public with it. Okay. I will talk to you all next week. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have an amazing Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Next Sunday, I will talk at you again. I love you. Bye-bye.
This has been a Geeks Rising production. Your executive producer is Bandrew Scott. For more information, head over to www.geeksrising.com.